excuse Superintendent Kabista. She's under the weather, as well as Susan Graham's traveling abroad. I'd like to begin with the flag salute. Peggy, could you lead us in that?
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mine, but
basically you get one free touch penalty, because if you lose like one token, you still get 50 points. But then if you lose 10 points, 40 points, so on.
Show your robot.
We have 3 robots here today from our one major team. We are split up into 3 to 4 mini teams, which each have a robot, and then whichever robot we feel would be most comfortable for the tournament we take. So we have 3 mini teams here today, and we all have 1 or 2 codes that we can show you. Some of them are work in progress, some of them are finished, but we still have them until the tournament, so we're working on things and getting them done.
Yeah,
So
we
can we
go-
come up and watch?
Yeah, basically, we also, there should be about 2 people in the table. Or 3, 2 or 3 people should be at the table. And there should be a time limit of 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
So I think the majority of us.
Is the cameras here? Yes. Thank you, sorry.
The majority of us are working on this one code right here. It's the one that we're gonna be trying to do. So this one, to get the Kraken off of the pole, that's 20 points, but to deliver it, to circle behind it, that's an extra 10. So we're gonna start working on it.
So ours, we pick up the octopus, but it sometimes works, sometimes doesn't, and we're trying to get it to deliver it to the circle, which sometimes works, but most of the time it doesn't.
Yeah, this is one of the codes that we're working on right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a work in progress.
Right there, it doesn't work, but we need to work on that one first.
A lot of these are trials.
Yeah.
So are all the tables set up the same?
Yeah.
So all
Yeah.
the tables are the same, and there is one, it's gone right now, but it's right there. There's one mission that has to do with both teams, and it's kind of, it varies depending on when you do it, where you do it. So it's one that you have to push something up so that it lands on the other team's side. And if you push it up, that's 20 points. If it ends up on the other team's side by the end of the tournament, that's an extra, or the end of the round, that's an extra 10 points. And both teams can do it. It's attached to both tables, so you're able to get that extra 10 points with the other team to take it back.
So where's the control? Like you want it to, your robot to go, right?
There's
Okay.
usually a button that shows what mission you have to do, like can you show it real quick?
Yeah, the green button.
You download it on
So,
Okay.
Oh, I want to like it'll show like numbers that we just saved, like saved up on like the robotics, basically it's like stretch, pretty much, so basically you go number to number, and when we're satisfied, we just put it like almost like good, but not perfect, but I mean, it could be perfect, but then when you select your number or stay there and press the green button, it'll do the rest.
We also have a thing called the jig, which we use so we can line it up in the exact same spot every time, so you don't have to remember exactly where you want to put it.
So all the codes are downloaded to Pocket Middle or on the back of the robot, and on the robot design. That holds all of our codes, which we work on our computers. We work on the codes and make the codes on the Chromebooks, and then download them to the robot, and basically we just choose which code we want to do, line it up, and set it. That's what the button's for. You press it, and that's what this is.
Does your computer program have a simulator so you can watch what you're programming, or do you have to actually watch it?
There is a monitor that is like viewed for parents or some visitors that want to see. Like that screen right there, it's showing, like it'll show the perceptive, or POV of our like things, so that way they'll see what we're doing. And they'll also announce what we win and we lose.
So on the computer, you can't see what your robot would do, so you have to bring it to the table, set it up, and run the codes each time, so you know exactly how to fix it. And so you get like the measurements, like there's angles, like centimeters, or just the rotations. We put like a white peg right here, so we know how far it goes, and then like go forward for this amount of rotations, and we have to test it, just try to perfect it each time.
The whole thing's a lot of trial and error. It's really hard to perfect these codes.
So
A
when
lot
you
of it.
download it to your robot, is there like a chip or?
It's Bluetooth to the block,
Yeah, Bluetooth.
so we can know.
So like you download it, like you get on the computer, you hook it up with Bluetooth and then you press a button that says connect to hub. And it'll download the code into the machine and then whenever you go, and then you like set it to a certain number and then whenever you go to that number, it'll run that code that you put in the number.
Yeah, you guys can feel free to-
It's just that you click on it.
That would be a full 30 points, because they got it into the home area, and that's what they've been working on it for. And then we, no, you guys have really good on that.
One
Know what tasks are gonna be beforehand, so you work on them, or you work on them while you're there?
Yeah, these are the tasks that are gonna be at the competition.
They're gonna be shown like almost every day, and this changes every year, every time when someone.
It's a different theme and different task every single year, so we have to do.
You've been to it before, is this your first time?
So this is my 3rd year.
This is my second year.
This is my 3rd year.
First,
This is my first year.
there's also new apples here that like you can like, if you go do something, like if you put it there, you push it back on the holidays, you click a button and it says like tally up how many points and then do more tasks, click more buttons and then it like gives you a final score, and that's what you typically get in a competition. And then there's a competition like it's school and then state and that's like the last one. For people that come from all over, you know.
None of this is any fun.
We really enjoy it. Some of us come in during lunch and extra time just for it. Yeah, there's the qualifying tournament, that's the one that everybody gets to go to. Then if you qualify in the top, I think 5, you're able to go to state. That's in like a month later. And then I think after state, if you go to the,
It's top 2, go to
that's the kind of competition.
national.
Yeah. you go to-
So are these made out of Legos?
Yes.
Yes.
Lego robot, okay, there you go.
So also there's like one mission that is like almost hard to get is that trend right here. Like when you try to grab it, man, if I touch it, it goes like that.
Oh.
There's a couple of really hard ones. Okay, this one's really hard.
Technically, you can also like here, so basically for this one right here, oops, let's touch that. You're supposed to grab like, to that grade right here, that one right here, the Kraken nest, and, the trident. And basically try to grab all the items and basically pour all the stuff in here. For extra points, you gotta make sure the boat goes like, kind of this. It goes all the way over here. And locks. That way you don't have to, you know. Also, they say that, this, the creature has to be, partly in.
So it can be like this and then be fine. Doesn't have to be fully in.
Honestly, that run, I just gotta admit, that run's actually really fun. Honestly, like, it just got my attention, like, anyway. Also, if you're wondering, about those fish, those fish go to that killer whale over there. That's part of our mission, so our goal is like to, grab all the fishes. and put them in there, if we miss, we still get points for that. But
So,
You show them some.
yeah, there's a lot of different elements that go into the mission. Some of them are fishing things, some of them are delivering things. There's a lot of them that are pulling something or moving something to adjust it, like the shark. And there's ones where you deliver stuff. Yeah, like those ones go into the picture. To get them and deliver them. That's one of the hard ones.
That's why when they touch a robot has to be under 1 foot. It has to fit in here and then has to like press down or something. On the
All your attachments, they have to fit inside of this at the beginning. And so you have like all this room to fit it in, and you have several different attachments to.
Your ones aren't always like for the best work. Or like how well you did on the board, there's also for your initiative project, and there's stuff like how well your like team works together and core values.
last year we got a trophy for like cheering our team on and then nice teammates fighting well on the table.
Yeah, there's a lot of the core values and cooperation and working together. That's one of the main things that they're looking for.
mind if I say something real quick? Like I said, that it is like I said, that there's gonna be a time limit. So it's gonna be like pain in a pie where, like it shows like 2 minutes and 30 seconds, we have 2.5 minutes to complete this. And basically, if the time goes out, we cannot touch our robot like at all. But the points might be still in if we if it goes in on times and we didn't touch it. So yeah.
Yes, that's the time.
We should probably wrap up. I assume. Yeah.
It was actually really good.
I think they could talk about it.
Oh, they're so
Is it? It's so interesting.
They're so. They're so dudes.
Aren't they though?
I can barely.
Oh, well. Oh, well. Needs me. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, yeah. Great.
Thanks.
You as well, thank you.
We
Absolutely.
didn't have anything like this. Nice to see him involved in something.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
me too.
Thank you.
Ready to go home, sucker?
Right. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's the reason we're in this business.
Right.
Yeah.
Do we have any communications from the floor? Okay. Then before the standing reports, we'll have we'll go over these two field out-of-state trip requests. So the first one, Ben Kramer.
You have a slightly updated, like draft itinerary. so
Oh, perfect.
it's out
Thank you.
as well.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. My name is Ben Kramer. I'm a health and CT health sciences teacher, also the head baseball coach at Central High School. And the plan this year is to take our team out of state for a trip to Boise. Dates are March 20th through 25th, and this is been a good time coming. This is my second year as the head baseball coach, and really had the vision as soon as I accepted the job to get the boys out and see more than just what they're offered through league competitions, et cetera. I see it really as like a holistic trip where we'll have opportunities to see college campuses, playing some really good competitions while we're out there, and really bond together as a team. So we have the draft itinerary, and we're just really excited about the opportunity to have a new perspective, get to see some things that are out there, be able to compete, but also really just bond as a team, as well as have those educational opportunities for our students to continue to grow holistically.
We have some better weather out there too during that time of year.
Absolutely.
We'll actually get to play.
That's the plan.
Yeah, you'd be in rain here.
Does anybody have any questions or?
It's a spring break, right?
Yep, it would be so 20th to 25th, Thursday, just before our spring break, necessary with how the tournament's timing is, because those schools in Boise are right before us in terms of spring break.
So are you hoping to get some schools in the area to join in the tournament, or how?
There may be one other. I've been working with some other area coaches, maybe
Okay.
one other area school that will join us over there. The coach at Rocky Mountain High School that I've been communicating with is just hoping to continue to build it, but said that they haven't had somebody be a part of this tournament from Oregon in a while. So really looking forward to that.
Cool. Well, if there's no other questions or comments, there's a proposed motion we can have on the page 3 of the business agenda at the bottom.
I move to approve the out-of-state travel request for the Central High School baseball team to Boise, Idaho during spring break of 2025.
Second,
I'll second it.
moved by Peggy, second by Jan. All those in favor, show by your right hand. It's 5. Any opposed? 5-0. It's unanimous. Thank you.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
It sounds like it's really going to be a good experience for the boys.
It will be.
Have fun.
Thank you.
And the second request I have, I don't see Ian here. Mr. Probst.
Presenting on Ian's behalf tonight.
All right.
He is busy right now trying to get our varsity football team ready for the playoffs.
Oh, good. Oh, that's right. He's coaching O-line, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Good for him.
I gotta say, just on an off-topic thing, it's really nice having an athlete as well as a choir teacher. It's nice to meld the two worlds. Good evening. If you don't know me already, I'm Ed Probst. Mostly it's just a reintroduction for most of you. I've been at Central High School 19 years. Tonight, I wanted to talk about a proposed trip for the CHS Jazz Band and the Main Street Singers, the jazz choir at Central High. We wanted to do this trip together because one, solidarity between the different musical programs, and it's also Ian's first trip, and I figured I'd put my arm around him and help him out. He's also a pretty busy guy, and I'm a pretty busy guy, and if we don't chip in, things should work out. We propose going to Los Angeles, California for March 1 through 4. The purposes of the trip are to learn about and partake in the music industry at the epicenter of one of the places where the most music in the United States comes from. Our first day, we're planning on doing more standard Los Angeles things like Mann's Chinese Theater, Walk of Fame, but we're capping that off with the Grammy Museum where we'll have an opportunity to see artifacts from performers like Dudamel, handwritten notation from Quincy Jones, Beyonce, Taylor Swift. So they're going to get to see different parts of the industry than they would normally see. The next day, we're planning to have a Disney Day. We are currently in the application process for their Magic and Music Days program, where potentially we could get into their recording studio with some of their professional clinicians, record some Disney music over the top of an existing Disney film, and be able to come back with a performance of our choirs and bands over the top of Disney film to show off at our home concerts. They would also be clinicked by professional band and choir directors that day, as well as get to spend some time in the Magic Kingdom because, hey, we're there. The next day is Universal Studios, and the educational piece of that is seeing how music and film interact, and then they would get to spend some time at Universal as well. The last day, we would be spending time at University of Southern California, working with their teachers as well as students, clinicking our current students, getting pointers on how to improve, and seeing that music life continues after high school and that the level of play only goes up.
Wow.
Any questions?
How many kids were you taking in?
15 jazz band members, 19 Main Street singers.
Okay.
And last count earlier today, we're taking 8 chaperones with us too. Apparently the adults want to go to LA as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
In March?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions?
There's a motion.
Yeah.
Move that we approve the out-of-state field trip request for the jazz band and Main Street Singers to travel Los Angeles, California in March of 2025.
I'll second.
Moved by Don, second by Peggy, all in favor, show by your right hand. Any opposed? 5-0 unanimous.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Have a
you.
wonderful
Good luck,
evening.
have fun.
Yeah,
Will
it sounds like a
do.
great trip.
With
Thanks so
Mr.
much.
Probst in charge, it will be great.
Oh, shit. Have a wonderful evening.
You too. Okay, standing reports. We're gonna switch these. We're gonna start with family engagement, the Parent Square report first, and then do the personnel report.
Here with you guys.
I know.
Fun. All right. We pull up my screen for you. All right, so good evening, everyone. I'm here to tell you a little bit about Parent Square, which is our new all-in-one communication tool. We launched Parent Square this school year when our previous communications platform was purchased by them. Parent Square was started by a small group of parents to increase engagement at every school. It's a simple and unified school-to-home communication tool to reach and engage every family. Parent Square uses 3 main communication tools: posts, which are similar to social media platforms, messages, which are similar to a text or to a direct message, and alerts, which is what we will use for things such as inclement weather delays and closures. Parent Square is designed to translate into more than 120 different languages instantly. It opens the doors for some of our families whose preferred language is something other than English. This communication system aligns very nicely with our district strategic planning and board goal of family engagement. The Parent Square system provides rich data. I don't expect you guys to actually see all of the little details on here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. It provides rich data on family engagement by tracking all these posts, messages, and alerts that all of our staff are doing to communicate with families. You'll notice the green circle at the top that shows that 99.5% of our families are contactable at this time through Parent Square. You can dig a little further into the data and you can see the comments and appreciations of the post, the number of people who have RSVP'd to an event, volunteers who have signed up through the platform, direct messages sent, and forms and permission slips that have been filled out. So all of this data stream is all coming from just one of our schools for like a week snapshot of what's going on. The other thing that's fun about this is it tells you kind of how, because it's the appreciations in the comments, it's telling you how parents and families are actually interacting with our staff through the platform. So Parent Square is estimating that based on this data snapshot, 86% of our families are interacting with these posts and messages from our staff. So the weekly summary is another data point that I get each week. And it provides district-wide data for the number of posts, messages, and alerts in our district. Is even 0 alerts. That's probably a good thing in this case. I mean, there's some things we could probably do a little bit more with that particular feature, but it's kind of seems more kind of an emergency situation thing. So I'm happy to see 0 alerts. That makes me just fine. And so it also highlights our staff who have been like top post authors. So we can see that last week, Timothy Creta at MES was the top poster of the week with 9 posts. So just things like that, it allows, we can just kind of keep track of it. So I'd like to take a moment and talk about one feature of the program, which is secure document send. This feature allows us to securely send documents to the families of our students. They previously would have had to been mailed in the actual post office. So far this feature has been used by 2 departments at district office level and saved thousands of dollars in taxpayer dollars and staff time. So nutrition services is one of the departments that have used this to send out their annual required mailing. They have to send a letter to every family in our district. And even with the new program to learn, this process was accomplished in half the time they used to take. They said that they would have had to spend $2,651.76 on just postage and envelopes alone. But because they were able to use this secure document send through Parent Square, they only spent $34.80 in postage. So of course, not every family is going to receive it in the manner that, electronically, and Parent Square will tell you who didn't receive it, and it will print those out for you, so you can just send what didn't receive. So it shows you who's looking at what and who's seeing posts and who's getting the messages that you need to send to them. So another feature that we're excited about with Parent Square is it does allow us to have a platform that the community can join, so that we're not relying on them strictly. We're giving them another option, kind of, instead of just the website or just Facebook or Instagram. They can come to a place that's secure, that they know that only we're going to be posting things and they can trust what we're posting because it's coming straight from us. So it allows the community to join a community group here in this platform and kind of come into our communication platform that way. I've added all of you to this group, I think, so you shouldn't have a problem, but if anyone else in the community would like to join the group, you can sign the QR code there, or you could go to the website and find the link there. Do you guys have any questions, or would you like any more information about it?
I have a comment.
Okay.
As a parent who is using it, because I have a 9th grader, it's fantastic.
Okay.
It's so much easier to contact teachers. I get messages promptly. It's been a real benefit to us this year. So I think it's a great platform.
Agreed. I get lots of notifications from it. Keeps me updated on what's happening.
Good. I'm glad. I think that's a good thing, right?
Yep. Much less cumbersome than our school was to communicate.
Yeah, we're still using PowerSchool for things like grades, attendance, things like that. But you will get your attendance notices are coming through Parent Square, so they talk to each other. This is kind of, as you guys notice, a little bit more easy to use. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Floor is yours, Brian, for the table.
Just meant to get the slides up. So with
tonight I'm going to talk to you about our current staffing report. It gives a 4-year look, so this year and 3 years back. Go to the first slide there. Broke it down for each of the buildings. And then I've got some summary slides that talk about the district as a whole, but also Jen wanted, Dr. Cabista wanted us to go a little bit deeper into special education to show you some of the trends that we're seeing there. So first building you're seeing there is ACES. I know that you've all had opportunity to take a look at these. I'm going to talk a little bit more on the summary slides than the individual ones because I think it gives you a better picture overall of their staffing. But you're going to see in each of the buildings that there are close to same number of staff as last year. There's some differences that would be reflective of some of our programs moving from one building to another in some cases. In other cases, some of the reductions that we made going into the school year. So we'll go on to the next slide. This is IES. MES. TMS. You want me to go back?
to MES?
Yeah.
So why is there such a big change between 24 and 25?
On MES, some of the bigger changes for MES have to do with the change in the location of some programs. We had some programs that were located at MES for special education, for example, that did move buildings. So that's why you see slightly larger changes there at MES this year.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. And the thing to keep in mind with all the numbers that are on this, on the right-hand side, the 24, 25, that's what we currently have as far as filled. And I should have said this beginning, the number of parentheses again is the number of FTE and the number next to the parentheses is the number of actual people. So for example, for TMS overall, there's 78 staff, but there's 75 FTE, meaning that some folks are not full-time there. Okay. Next slide.
Brian, are these open and filled positions or are these just filled?
I'll show you in a second on the overall. I think it's going to make a little bit easier on the overall. Okay. So there's CHS. And next slide. District office. And we can come back to any of this, but I'm going to go on to the next slide. So this is district wide. So kind of speak to your question there, Chair. District wide, we have 457 currently hired in positions right now, 457. There's 439.51. I'm sorry, I take that back. Sorry, apologize. Look at the slide and trying to look down here at the same time. There are 414 people that we have hired, which represent 391.9 FTE, but our budget is 457. So you can see that we have that difference between what we have been able to hire so far this year going into the budget. So one of the things I want to kind of make a comment on here is that we saw two things coming together this year in 24-25. One being that budget realities. We had ESSER funds going away, which was a huge hit for districts across the state. We also saw a lack of funding to the level to be able to continue at the level that we were before. The other thing that happened simultaneously is that we had a much higher need in special education. And so when you see the slide that I've broken out for special education, I'll give you an idea of those kind of ramped up numbers. So we needed to do two things at once. We needed to increase the level of special education staffing across the district, at the same time had to reflect what the realities of the budget were. And so that's where you see some of the differences in staffing levels outside of special education. So if you look at the other areas, administrator staff looks pretty much the same. We have one staff that we haven't budgeted there. For example, we had somebody leave earlier this year. We haven't made a full decision about what we're going to do with that FTE yet, but we're still considering that. And then each of the areas represent both, like I said, the addition of special education staff and also some of the cuts that we needed to make in order to make the budget work this year. I'm going to go on to talk to special education, then come back to field any other questions you have. So if we go on to the next slide. This has had a huge impact over the course of time for us. If you look back in 22, 23, 81 staff members. I don't have a percentage because I didn't have the number for what our staffing level was at that time as far as overall. But you can see the increase in percentage, which would have been reflective of that year as well. In 23, 24, roughly 20% of our staff was dedicated to special education. What I mean by that is that those are staff that primarily spent their day working with special education students. We all support the needs of special education students and all the work that we do. But these are folks that the students that I work with are primarily special education. Any questions about what I mean by that, kind of the definition? Okay, so then you look at 24, 25 last year, bumped up a little bit to 95, roughly 23%. But the increase for this year, as far as what our need was and continues to be, is almost 30% of our staff. When you look at the overall picture, we haven't fully staffed that. We're still working on staffing all those positions, but they would represent 133 positions, people, if we were to get to the fully staffing on that. So you can see that there's been a huge increase, and this is not unique to our district. We're seeing those types of increases in a lot of districts. Part of that has to do with legislation that the superintendent has talked with you about over the past couple of years, I guess now, of school years. And with that, there's no additional funding coming. So it is a thing that we are continuing to try to figure out how we work through that going forward. And I know that there's conversation statewide about what schools are going to need to be able to sustain that current need.
So what percentage of our total student body is served by this 30% staff number?
Well, again, if we're just talking about terms of how many students are special education, Julie, would you say about 18? 13, 14, okay. I was off by that. Thank you, Julie. So 13, 14%. Okay. So we'll say on the generous side, say 14% of our student population. It's not uncommon though, obviously for there to be more resource need. And so the state does provide some resource need, but it certainly doesn't match what our current needs are or have been. It's been part of the conversation across the state as far as getting more in line with reality of what the numbers are for all school districts as far as the need in staffing for special education, but in particular because of some of the changes that have had in state law that has driven up what the costs have been. And so if you go into the next slide, vacancies, and go into the next slide, is a breakdown of where our current vacancies are. And you can see that almost every single building has a number of vacancies right now. Besides our coaching and sub bus drivers, almost all of the vacancies that we have are in special education. So we're looking for every opportunity to try to hire and recruit more special ed staff. Giving you an example that Julie and I are going to be attending it's not a conference, but it's a recruiting event that's up in Seattle, Washington, in December. It's specific to SLPs. We need 3 SLPs, so speech language pathologists, really hard to find. So there's what we hope is going to be a really good event up in Seattle that will give us an opportunity to try to recruit some folks to come down to Oregon and join us. So we're looking.
What's the nearest program, SLP program to us?
You're beyond my knowledge level there. So Julie, do you have any ideas?
University of Oregon is one.
Okay. Thought they had one in Portland, one of the Portland universities too. But I can't remember.
We go and we do our recruitment at U of O, and one of the reasons that we go to U of O because of the strength of their special education program and the number of folks that can be recruited out of there. Any other questions?
It's daunting.
What's that?
When does this get better?
And I want to be, I also want to just be clear is that I, this is not about placing blame on the needs in special education or that we want to serve every kid to the highest level that we can possibly do in family. I think where it becomes better is when, again, the state's been looking at that overall quality education model, but when they really start to look at the quality education model when it comes to the needs of special education, I think that's when we might see some shifts. And I think it's pushing on it right now. I'm part of a statewide group that's looking at some of the impacts. It's a committee that's looking at some of the impacts of some of the laws that passed. And it's definitely a conversation that is not just among our district or even just among school districts, but people trying to meet the needs of students in various settings, whether they're in schools or different care facilities that are providing support to families and students. It's a need that's hopefully going to be better reflected in the next budget that we get from the governor. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Seeing that there's no superintendent, we will forego the superintendent report. Upcoming activities, the board will have a PLC on November 18th at 6 p.m. That's here, right, Emily? PLC, okay. And then the next board meeting is December 2nd at 6:30 p.m. Next, we have the approval and a review and subsequent approval of the consent agenda. I'll have to entertain a motion on that.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Moved by Melanie,
I'll second.
seconded by Peggy. All those who can support this, show by right hand. Any opposed? 5-0. Consent agenda is approved. We'll now move on to the business agenda, of which there is one item that just up front is eligible to table until next time if we choose to do so, if you want more time to review, but it's regarding the OSBA elections. I honestly don't have much information on this, so. Yeah.
Right.
So. There are two positions. We don't actually have to vote on these either, do we?
Who says we can abstain?
Yeah, we can.
We can just.
Yeah.
Review it and move on with our lives, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
On the other hand, at least on the board position, I think anybody that's willing to serve, we should at least get them a vote. My recommendation.
I wish we knew something about the person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
There's
is
a
application.
nomination.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we review, so this information is available for review. So if we want to review it, we still have time before the elections to have this discussion at the next meeting as well, where we can.
Let's do that.
That we table the OSB and other stuff.
Okay. Do we have to do a vote on that? We have to vote to table that, Emily? Okay. So can we just put this on our agenda for next time for the December 2nd? If that's the consensus of the group.
Yes.
Orlando, you good with that? All right, good. Okay, that brings us to comments by individual board members.
I just want to thank the TMS required for finally bringing something to the board that I can get excited about.
No, right?
You're an engineer.
That was pretty amazing.
That was truly amazing. Those kids were great.
And it's nice to see middle school kids just so excited about something like something as simple as Lego. Yeah.
They're a lot different than the Legos I used
I
to play
know.
with. though.
Yeah, yeah.
Legos on the outside are the same, it's just the box.
Yeah, yeah. They have brains in them now. Any other comments?
It was exciting seeing the kids do their Lego stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
We could have had a whole board meeting about that because I think they would have just kept on talking.
They would,
would.
they were
would.
just absolutely fabulous.
Okay, well, I would then, if there's no other comments or questions, well, I'll have a comment. Tomorrow's election day, obviously. Make sure you vote.
Long
Whatever
time
way you're
ago.
voting, make sure you do it.
Long time ago.
Long time
And
ago.
would encourage you to review the items for actions at future meetings. And
Yeah.
if there are no objections, we will adjourn.
Wow, this has to be the fastest board meeting we've ever had.
Was that